Good morning. My name is Alex, owner of the Alchemist vessel, and today we're going to show you how to make a simple pair of earrings. You will need 2 head pins, 2 fishhook style ear wires, 2 small jump rings, these guys are optional, and any beads in your choice. I've chosen an 8 and a 6 millimeter blue glass bead for a graduated look. You will also need pair of round nose pliers, a second pair of pliers, either flat nose or chain nose, these guys happen to be chain nose, and a pair of wire cutters. The first thing you're going to want to do is decide the way you want your earrings to look. I know that because one bead is bigger than the other bead, I'm going to have a graduated look. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my beads onto my head pin, going from large to small. If you guys want to save time, you can go ahead and thread the second head pin at the same time. And this way, if you don't like the way it looks, you can go ahead and rearrange and change things. Okay, I'm going to get these things out of the way here for just a second. Now what you're going to want to do is take your round nose pliers and 1 head pin, and holding the head pin in between the jaws of your pliers, right at the top of the bead, right there, you're going to want to roll or bend your wrist away from you, and you're then going to create an angle. That motion has been likened to, one of my other students called it revving a motorcycle. You just roll your wrist forward. Can you guys see that motion? Just roll your wrist forward, just like that. Okay, now what you're going to want to do is cut off this long excess piece of head pin, and you're going to want about 1/4 of an inch from where you bent it out to the end here. That's going to make the eye or the loop in your head pin. Now I know that when I hold it this way, this is about 1/4 of an inch the length I want from the angle to my nail. So I'm going to grab my wire cutters right here, and holding that head pin right there in the tip of the wire cutters, that's where the cutting happens, as in with scissors as well. And you can also adjust it if you think that's going to be too long for a loop. You can make it longer or shorter. I suggest making it a little longer just in case you don't want it too short, because then it's not going to be a proper loop. And I'm just going to snip that excess off just like that, set that aside. I'm then going to take my round nose pliers once more, and I want to hold the head pin where I snipped it, right at the end of the cut right there. Can you guys see that? Right there is the end of the wire in the jaws of my round nose pliers. Round nose pliers are a little more tapered, but they are round shape at the end there. Let me make that back up. You're then going to make that motorcycle revving motion again, and roll your wrist forward all the way, and that is going to create a loop in the head pin. Can you guys see that? You now have an eye pin. If you think it's not quite closed enough, you can give a little squeeze just to be sure that the end is meeting that exposed length of wire from where you cut it. Okay, now that that's adjusted, I think it's hanging right. I am going to take my other pair of pliers, and I'm going to grab a jump ring. First of all, I have to find the opening, which is not always easy. These guys are tiny. Okay, and with my other pair of pliers, I am going to twist that jump ring open. So now I've got open thing. I'm going to put the loop over the end of the jump ring, so it's hanging on that. I'm going to pick up my fishhook ear wire, and making sure that the part that goes through my ear is going to be facing away from me. I'm going to slip the jump ring through the loop in the bottom of the ear wire, taking my other pair of pliers. I'm going to grab that other end, and we are going to close the jump ring, giving it a little nudge here and there just to make sure it's shut. And there you have an earring. There is an alternative way to finish these off. Of course, you want to repeat what you just did with your second head pin. but I'm going to show you an alternative. Now, you're going to pick up your head pin, and instead of holding the pliers way down here, you're going to give it just a little bit more length, however much you like, in between there. Don't do it way up here, though. That's probably not a good idea. You want to leave just a little bit of room like that. And again, you're going to roll your wrist, making that motorcycle revving motion and forming that angle in the head pin. So now you have a little bit of space between the bead and the angle. Again, you're going to want to measure, guesstimate, about 1/4 of an inch from the angle to where you want to grasp the rest of the head pin in your pliers. Sorry, you guys can see that there. So now you have the excess facing you, the bend here, and your pliers where you're going to make, again, that motorcycle revving motion, and you're going to roll that forward. Notice I did not cut off the excess, and that's going to kind of hang down here off the pliers. You're then going to want to take that excess wire and roll it around the shaft of the pliers, just like that. I want you guys to be able to see that. See, now you have another eye in the head pin there with all this excess wire hanging off it. What are you going to do with it? I'm going to put this back on my pliers. And then, now what you do with this excess stuff is you just gently twist it. Whoops. I didn't mean for it to fly out of my hands like that. You're just going to gently twist it around that exposed wire. Now, of course, yours will be much neater than mine is, because you'll be able to actually see what you're doing, and you're going to twist, twist, twist until you can't twist anymore, or 2 or 3 times, or however much will go around the length you've left, down to the top of the bead right there. Okay, so now you still have some excess wire from the bead. You guys see that? Still some excess wire hanging off there. I'm going to take my cutters, and coming in as close to the twist and the top of the bead as I can, I am going to snip the rest of that excess wire off. Just like that. Oops. That little piece went flying. Taking my other pliers here, I'm going to find where I've cut that, and I am just going to squeeze very gently and manipulate that end back into the spiral that I made. And the twist kind of adds an extra fun little design element, and will also make them just a tad bit longer if you want a little more swing and dangle in your dangle. I'm going to adjust that just to be sure it's hanging on the head pin right. Okay. Now, this time I'm not going to use a jump ring, because I already have a loop here, and there's also a loop on the bottom of the fishhook style ear wire. Most of these will open at the back in the same direction of the part that goes through your ear, which is right here. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and gripping just one side of that loop, I am going to twist it open towards me. Can you guys see that? It's open now. Instead of being closed, you have that kind of funny little squiggle like you would for a jump ring. I'm then going to pick this up, and I'm going to slip the loop or the eye that I made in the head pin over the loop or the eye in the fishhook ear wire. It's going to take my pliers again, and I'm going to bend that one side in the opposite direction I opened it. That would be away from me. I'm going to give that a little squeeze. Oops, escaped. Just to be sure that it's closed. And now you guys have another dangle earring. Of course, whichever method you choose, whether you choose the bend and twist, or you choose the bend and cut and using a jump ring to attach the earring, you want to make sure you repeat whichever method you do on the second earring, so you'll have a matching pair. If you don't want to use jump rings, that opening and closing the eye pin also works. the ear wire also works with the cut off and bend style, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. I'm going to again take this and open it coming towards me, pull that off, and then I've got to take the jump ring off, so hold on here just a second, let me find the opening. For some of you guys watching this, you may have noticed that I had to divide the video into 2 parts, so this is the second part. I suggest you watch the first part to see what we're doing here. Oh, and I missed the opening, but I got it open anyway. Take that off of there. And then, with this part, I'm just going to, like I did the other one, just slip that right over the end of the opening in the ear wire, and once more I am going to twist that away from me, or in the opposite direction I opened it, closing it, give that a little pinch, and again the earring is attached, and you have a very pretty little dangle. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Remember, these techniques can be used for pretty much anything, making a bracelet, more earrings, and that's it for today. Thanks.